Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank the facilitator and the organizers for giving me this opportunity to have a knowledge exchange with the people living across the other continent. It's entirely a great opportunity for me as well to learn from you and at the same time share my knowledge with you people. So I'm going to start sharing my slides now. Please let me know if you can see it. Is it visible? Can you people see my screen? Uh, can you see now my slide? Oh, a beginner approach. Okay. Okay, perfectly fine. So now, before I start, I would request everyone to mute your mics. Once in a while, I will give you an opportunity to ask the questions, but for few minutes, I would keep on talking so that I communicate my message easily. So let me start. My first slide was the introduction about myself. I'm thankful to the organizer. They introduced me in so much detail that I don't see any reasons for telling more about myself. So I should be skipping this slide. Just want to add that being in academia gives you these opportunities to interact with people, and I myself love learning. Even after my PhD, I did postgraduate diploma in business administration and master's in operation and supply chain management, just for one reason, that I love learning and love to learn new things, and obviously then share with my students and within my circle. So the today session is with the same objective, that we learn from one another. So let me talk about what I aim for today. We had some discussion. I had some discussion, detailed discussion with Omo on the details of the sessions and what I need to be covering. So for me, it was easy to start with directly loading the SPSS software and start telling you about how SPSS works. But I believe that any statistical software, whichever software it is, it should be used with some knowledge of statistics, because if you have no statistical background, these software are of no use. It's kind of like you have a car, but you can't drive, so the car is of no use. So keeping that in mind, I set the objective for this today and tomorrow session, that we will first start with a basic background of the statistical analysis. That would be more or less some theoretical discussion. Then I will talk about the SPSS software. I will tell you what is this software about, what are its competitor, what does this software do, and how you can start with, when you install it, how you can start with it. And then the third part would be to have some usage of data and do some preliminary analysis of data through SPSS. Now the third part may be the time when we will be closing to the discussion of today, or the time for today. So if it is, if I couldn't finish it today, then I will continue from where I left today. So that's the objective for today. These are the two blocks for today and tomorrow. Today I aim for the basic descriptive analysis along with some statistical background and introduction to SPSS. For tomorrow, I plan to discuss some basic regression analysis and hypothesis testing and use of SPSS for these things. So let me start. Today, sorry, today I'm going to start with the introduction of statistics, then introduction with SPSS software, and performing some descriptive analysis. So please allow me to start my work. I will start with a very basic question. What is statistics? The word statistics, when you hear, what does comes in your mind? What does you get in your mind? So if I define it, we say that the statistics is science that enable us to conclude various phenomena based on real data collection on sample basis. So it's like you try to use, you collect a sample, a real word, you have the real word, you collect some data through samples, and then based on that you try to explain some phenomena, you draw some conclusion. So that's what statistics refers to. We say that it's a tool for data-based research. So if you have to do some research, whether it's in academic research or it is some industry-based research, or even if you are doing some other analysis for your business, you will using the tools of statistics, or we say that the statistics science will help you in that analysis. It is also known as quantitative analysis. You heard people saying, I am doing quantitative analysis. So whenever you heard the word quantitative analysis, the word statistics should pop up in your mind. And then we say that any scientific inquiry in which you would like to base your conclusions and decisions on real life data, you require to employ statistical techniques. So as I said, if you have to do some research, if it's a lab research, if it's a field study, or if it's a qualitative research, you will need some statistical tool to analyze the data, to draw some conclusion from their data and make this data useful for some decision making. So in that sense, statistics become very important. The word statistics itself, the meaning, we should also look at the semantic of the statistics, that what is the origin of this statistic. So it is said that the word statistic comes from Latin word status, and it means a political state. So originally statistics were used to define or used to refer to information that were useful for state. For example, we can think of the information about the size of population in a state, or the size of armed forces. So these are the data that are useful for a political state. So we say that statistics refers to those numbers or data that are useful for the state, but that's the literal meaning of statistics. Now in journal, statistics is used in 3 more contexts as well. I will quickly go through that. So statistics, as I said, is Latin word with meaning status, that refers to a political state. But now we have 3 different references to it. The first one is statistics by like what is meant by statistics for a layman, a man in a street, what meaning he derived from statistics. So in that context, we say that for a layman, the statistics mean numbers and observation that are systematically arranged, and in that context it is used as a plural word. It's not a singular word, it's a plural word. So you can think of statistics about prices, such as consumer price index. You can think of the road accidents. You can think of statistics about crimes, statistics about birth. So all these are the use of statistic word for a layman, and in that context it is used as a plural. And similarly, some word use the word data instead of statistics, so you can use it loosely interchangeably. Then you can say that the word statistics is also referring to a science, a discipline. So in that context, we say that statistic is a discipline that include procedures and technique which are used for 3 things: collecting, processing, and analyzing numerical data, and to make inferences and make inferences about the real world decision. So it says like the statistics as a discipline has a different meaning. The statistics for an individual has a different meaning, and you need to be able to understand this difference. And then when we use it as a discipline, we call it as a singular word. Like in that case, statistics hold as a singular word. And statistics as a science is also a mathematical subject. Then we say the third context, in which case we refer it to as a summary statistics. So that's more or less in comparison with the layman meaning. So in that case, we say that statistics are numerical quantities that are calculated from sample observation. So instead of using it for layman, we slightly define it more formally, and we say that statistics refers to all numerical quantities and numbers that are calculated or that are obtained from sample observation. For example, you did a survey, you collected some data, and you take its average or its mean, variance, or standard deviation, or some other summary statistics. So in that context, we say that the statistics refers to as a summary data, and in that context, we also use it as a plural word. So going back to the meaning of statistics, so I hope now you have a very good idea of what statistics is. Statistics is a statistics is a word from Latin words, which literal meaning is a political state or information for the useful for a state or a country. Then we can use it in three different contexts. I briefly throw lights on each of these contexts. So from this slide, I want to make an image or in a concept of the word statistics in your mind. I do believe that not all of you have studied statistics as a subject. So this is important to have this slight discussions on these topics before we practically do discuss things through software. Then the next question which comes in mind is that statistics, what are the applications of statistics? Where do we use statistics? So, well, if you ask me, I would say that statistics is required for everything, every kind of studies or discipline required some basic knowledge of statistics. Even today I was discussing it with someone that I believe that even someone who is studying literature should now study statistics as a course because of its application in almost every field at a certain stage. So if I say where are its applications, so its applications are in the field of agriculture, anthropology, astronomy, biology, economics, engineering, environment, geology, genetics, medicine, library science, physics, political science, psychology, sociology, zoology. So virtually every single subject from anthropology to zoology, from A to Z, all discipline required statistics. I firmly believe that no discipline could be studied in depth at a higher level without studying some basic statistic tools. It is as important as mathematics. This is a bit bigger claim, but based on my experience, I'm saying that it is required. So to the younger students, to the younger participant of the course who are still studying, I would strongly advise you to learn the statistical tool with great interest, especially the probability and the hypothesis testing and the theories with that. That would be greatly helpful for you at a later stage of your study, especially when you are going for research-based masters or later on MPhil or PhD level studies. So now the question is how statistics works. We know what is statistics. We know that it is required for every discipline. It is needed everywhere. So now the question raised, how statistics works. So let's talk about for a minute on that. We say that statistics help us to summarize large data set in easy and understandable format. For example, if you are working in a library, you have thousands of books, you have thousands of titles, you have thousands of other information being recorded on Excel sheets. So statistics science could help you with summarizing this data making it easy, making it in understandable format, and deriving some useful information from that data. It can help those who are working in physical sciences or experimental sciences to design in efficient lab experiments. Then you can think of social sciences, business studies, humanities. People go in the field, anthropology and sociology even, they go in the field, they do surveys. So to design these surveys for field experiments and surveys, you need again the statistical tools. The statistics help you, the statistical science help you to tell you from where you should get the data. For example, if you want to do a survey in Nigeria, you can't cover each and every person in the country to ask about their income or their gender. So they do a sampling. So how does that sampling happen? The statistical tool help with that. Then the statistical, again, the statistics analysis or tools assist you in sound and effective planning in any other field of inquiry or research, as I said it earlier. And then it helps you to draw some conclusion from the data. Now, if you have the data, you even summarize it, it's of later use. But if you model that data, you can draw some interesting conclusion from that data, and that data gives you some information, and that information can be then converted to some knowledge. So that makes it statistics very important. And finally, you can use the statistical tool to predict. For example, I am from economics field, so I can tell, for example, if I know what is the currency exchange rate between two countries, so I can use the statistical tools and some past data, and I can predict that what would be the values for the future. Similarly, the stock values can be predicted, and so on and so forth. You can take so many examples that can help you predicting the conditions. With a given condition, you can do some predictions. So I hope I'm not going very fast, and I will take a breath at this point, and I would kind of ask or give the opportunity to the participant if there is any question. Since I can't see the comments, so I'm going to reduce my PowerPoint presentation to screen views, and I'm going to look at the comments if there are any comments or any questions from participant. So I would like to address that. Yeah. No question. When there is, yeah, okay, 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 okay. That's great. Normally when my student don't ask questions, so I tell them that there is two possibility. One possibility that I am very, very clear on what I'm saying, which is near impossible. And the second possibility is that you did not understand a single word I said. And that's very likely possible. So I hope that's not the case here. Okay, perfect. I got some comments. It's clear. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Great. Okay, so I will start again with my screen sharing. This is my presentation. So I switch back to my screen. I hope it is visible. So I continue. So now we are clear on the background of statistics, the meaning of statistics, the importance of statistics, and that how statistics works. So the next question which comes in mind is, since statistics is dealing data, and we keep on saying data, and we will be doing data analysis, so it's always good to know what we mean by data, or what does data mean. So well, it can be defined by many ways, but in simplest words, we can say that the data appears we are going to define it in a simple ordinary conversation. So we say that the data is again a Latin for those that are given. So that's the literal meaning or the dictionary meaning of data. When we refer to the data in statistics, normally we think of some observation. Like when we observe something and we record it, so we call that this is our data, or this is our recording of that particular observation, and this is we are referring to this as a data. And then when we process that data, we convert that data to some useful information. Data is in raw form. It's just number giving you nothing. Then statistics help you to convert their data into information. And when a lot of information gather, you get knowledge. You create knowledge through that. So in loose word, I can say that when we get some numbers, some raw number, that could be counting vehicles on the road, that could be counting road accidents, that could be books in the library, that could be number of students in a class, that could be anything. So these numbers represent some data. And it's obviously not processed, or nothing has been of statistical nature has been undertaken. So a few examples of more data, some of qualitative nature and some of quantitative nature. For example, if someone goes to a police station and registers some report, that's also a kind of data. But that would be a kind of qualitative data rather than a quantitative data. Similarly, a physician or a psychologist during the interview also ask questions about the problem, the disease, and the symptoms, and make some notes. So that's also a data. Similarly, when a student is working on his or her exam, irrespective if he or she answer correctly or incorrectly, that also is generating some data. Similarly, if you love sports, so you see a lot of numbers, for example, marathon or sports, football, soccer, baseball, and so many sports generate a lot of data every day, or every game do generate a lot of data. So, the one type of data which we students are confronted a lot are the data which are collected through questionnaires. So there is some questionnaire which people fill, and then they respond to that, and questionnaire is filled, and then the respondent fill that questionnaire. So you collect the data through that as well. That's also a data. So some terminologies in statistics. Now, once we know the data, there are two more terminologies, or rather I should say one terminology, variable, which is very important. So normally, when we have an observation, so that refers to a numerical recording of information. So we have an observation, we record it in a numerical form or even non-numerical form, so that become our data. And then observation could be a physical measurement, such as height or weight. So you get a specific number that, for example, the height is 180 centimeter or 1.8 meter, or the weight is 100 kg or 200 pounds. And then sometime you have the observation in the form of classification. For example, you classify the things, such as if you throw a if you toss a coin, you get either head or tail. So that's also a data or observation, but that observation is not recorded numerically or physically measurement, but rather it is classified as being head or tail. Or if you roll a die, it has 6 possibility. So you also classify that information. So sometimes you have a physical measurement of observation, sometimes you have a classification of the data. So it depends on situation. And sometimes you have an answer to a question. For example, you may be asking, you may have a data or observation about for example, you may ask people if you will vote to a party A or a party B. So the person would answer yes to this party or no to this party. Or you may asking someone to participate in a sports, and the person may respond yes or no. So in that case, you have a separation. This is also a kind of a classification, if I have to add it. So normally we say a characteristics that varies with individual or an object, that is called a variable. So you have an observation, it has some characteristics that varies across individual or an object, and we call that characteristics a variable. Normally it's a bit difficult to define variable in words, but I'm sure that as a student or as a teacher, I know when you say the word variable, it gives you some concept, but it's a bit difficult to define it. So I wouldn't emphasize to memorize the definition. Rather, I would say that you should get the concept that the variable refers to certain characteristics in individual or in objects or in a group of objects that do varies. And then there are some characteristics that do not vary. So if it does not vary, it's called constant. If it does varies, it's called variables. So for example, age is a variable, so it's a characteristics that vary from person to person. So age is a variable. Similarly, you can think of so many other variables. Now, when we have the concept of variable, we say that it varies from individual to individual. It's in a quantitative value. Then we have a classification of variables. Now, this is very important, very basic, very fundamental, but very important to know. We say that the variables are of two types. One is quantitative, the other is qualitative. Quantitative variables are those variables that are numeric, that are numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you have qualitative variables. Qualitative variables cannot be expressed as number. For example, if you have information about the feelings of someone about something. For example, if you ask someone that if you like rice, so that person would say, I like it very much. Some other will say, I don't like it. Some third will say, I like it, but not that much. So you get measurement, or you get characteristics that vary across the groups, but it's not quantitative. For example, you can't say the differentiation between not like and like a bit, or being neutral about it. So that's a qualitative kind of nature. Similarly, you can think about the feeling. Similarly, you can think about the pain. Similarly, you can think about the learning, like if you learn from something. For example, if I ask you by the end of the workshop that did you learn from it, and you may say that, well, it was very useful, and someone else will say not very useful. Now that becomes very difficult to express is numerically. So I hope I make my point to have a differentiation between quantitative and qualitative variables. Now, qualitative variables are comparatively one category, but when we talk about quantitative, normally in statistics we are mostly dealing with quantitative or numerical variables, but qualitative is also dealt by statistics. But for time being, I will focus on quantitative variable. So in quantitative variable, we have again two categories. So quantitative variables that are expressed in numerical values, that has two categories. One category is called continuous variable. Now, what is a continuous variable? Continuous variable is that variable which can have each possible values within a given interval. For example, if we measure weight of someone, so the weight could be, let's say, 80.5 kg, it could be 80.55 kg, it could be 80.555 kg, or it could be 79.99. So it could have any value between 79.999 and let's say 80.0001. So that make it endless possibility. So we say that in continuous variables, we have the variables that could have all possible values within a given interval. And then we have the quantitative variable, which are called discrete variables. Now, what is discrete variables? Discrete variables are those variables that are measured with, or that comes with interval, or with jumps, or with gaps. For example, when you are collecting data about houses, so the number of rooms in a house. So you could have either 3 rooms or 4 rooms. You can't have 2.5 rooms. Similarly, the number of children a family have, or the number of car owned by a family, or similarly, you can think of so many more examples. So quantitative variables, qualitative variables are the two major types of variables. Then within quantitative, we have continuous and discrete variables. So I hope I make it clear. Basic concept, I'm not sure if you have studied that already, but for time being, I am feeling that I should be talking about these things in detail before I go for any statistical analysis. So that was variables. Then we talk about types of quantitative variables. Now, I covered that already, that discrete variable and continuous variable. The other two names for discrete and continuous variable are countable variable and measurable variable. So discrete comes with interval, so you count the thing, like number of rooms, like children in a family, like books with a person, and so many more things. And then continuous variable is measurable, so you measure it. You measure it with accuracy, so you can get each possible values within a given interval. And then now when we know what is a variable, then comes the interpretation of that variable. So irrespective of if a variable is a discrete variable or a continuous variable, almost in all discipline, they are represented or denoted by a symbol, a capital alphabet such as X or Y, and sometimes it is written with subscript such as XI. You can see it here on my screen. I hope it's visible. This XI and XJ. So when I was at initial stage of my studies, normally these kind of symbol would make me scared, like, oh, it's something difficult to learn. So don't be scared with these subscripts. This is just referring to the number, the value of the observation. Let's say you have 10 observations, so this I mean one specific observation, and similarly this J also mean one specific value of a variable. The next point, make it more clear. For example, let's say I have data on variable X, and I have it like 1, 3, 4, 7. So, and if I write X3, so X3 mean the third value, so that would be 4. So X3 is equal to 4. So that, what does it mean? Sorry. So X3 mean 4. So what I want to say, don't be confused or be scared with the subscript. Whenever you saw a subscript with a variable name, it refers to a particular value or the subscript value to that variable. And then now statistics in research. So once you have a full picture of statistics, very briefly, very quickly, but a full picture of statistics, what is the science of statistics, what is its meaning, what is its uses, how it is defined, how it is applied, how it is helpful, how it works as a science, and then you have some fundamental concept of variable, the term variable, the term data, the types of variables, the continuous and discrete variable, and how these variables are represented. Then we comes that how or why, when I said that statistics is the most important field of knowledge for research process. Now I will briefly tell you about that. So how statistics or the use of statistics methods in research process. So first, when we want to do any research study, we have a theoretical level. So let me tell about the theoretical level a bit. Normally, whenever you do a research, I'm not sure how things work in Nigeria, but in Pakistan, normally when we have some undergrad level students, they get a semester projects in which they are asked to do some research project, especially the business management students. So they are asked to do some research study. So how they start, this is the framework I'm going to show now. First of all, they have to choose a topic. Now, how the topics work, how you can search, that's a different story. I'm not going to talk about that now. Then once there is a topic, that topic is then refined, and it is refined to create some research questions. These research questions are then used to design a research study. And then this is all theoretical level. This is done with the help of some supervision. Normally the course instructor or a certain assigned supervisor can help. Then comes the next step. The next step is the data collection through some questionnaire, or sometime you collect the published data. Then you analyze that data. Then you interpret that data. And then the final part is reporting of that data. Now, if you look at these blocks, the first 3 blocks are theoretical level, and also the last block is a kind of a theoretical level. What I aimed is that to focus on the 2 shaded blocks. Why? Because the first reason is that the softwares, SPSS or any other software, will help you here only. The rest of the things you have to do by yourself. Whenever you do a research, the software can help you only with the two blocks which I shaded. Here only your software will get in. In the rest of the blocks, it's either theoretical or fieldwork, or you have to write like report findings. So this is some places where the statistical software will not help you. So for that reason, to get the maximum benefits of the software, you need to know the tools, the models that are used for analyzing the data. So that's why the statistics background is important. The statistics knowledge is important. The methods that statistics help statistician developed across these years that are need to be learned so that you can analyze the data with it. So I hope I make it clear with this diagram as well. And now you can see the scope or the domain of this session, that we are only focused on a very small component rather than entire research mechanism or process. So in able to conduct an academic research, you have to be expert in all these blocks, or you have to go through all these steps. The use of the software will come at a later stage when you are analyzing the data and testing your research question or answering your research question. So now a lot of theory. Let's talk about SPSS. But before going for SPSS, I would again ask if there is any question. So please do ask. Yeah. Okay. Uh, okay. Okay. I will share the slides. It's no problem. I will share it. It's no problem. Okay. Someone. Sorry. Yes, exactly. Yes. Likert scale. Yes, exactly. Okay, there is another question. Meanwhile, someone asked how long the presentation will last. Well, I am running on a marathon, so you people have to stop me. Well, I think around 25 minute more, most probably, something like that. Okay, perfect. Okay, so let me start again. So now the good news is that a lot of theory is gone. So let's talk about the SPSS software. So very quickly, introduction to SPSS. I'm going to talk about what is SPSS is, then to give you some basic steps, how you can start with SPSS, how you can enter the data to SPSS. Normally, we have issues with that, and then do some descriptive analysis. So I will try to cover all these graphical analysis. So that's the target for today. Let's see how much I can cover in next 20 to 25 minutes. So let me start. First of all, SPSS software is not free. Well, obviously you can get some crack versions online. Formally, I can't tell you how can do that, but for you, all students, the website can be seen from here, or you can just Google IBM SPSS or just SPSS statistics. So you will be directed to this website. From here, you can download. You can see here, try free for 14 days. You can download SPSS Statistic 27. That's the latest version. I myself don't have that, but the latest version is not that different from like 25 or 24 version. I believe only they add new things. So with the basic analysis, you can do it with SPSS 20 or even lower level. So it doesn't matter which version you get, but try to download that. In tomorrow session, I will try to give you some task and will ask you to do it, and let's discuss it so that you get a hands-on experience on it. So I would advise you, once the session is over, try to download it, and if possible, try to repeat few things which we have been doing, which we will be doing in a short time, very soon. Okay, so this is the website. You will get your trial version from here. 14 days is enough, at least, to do some basic things with it. So SPSS is an abbreviation. It stands for Statistical Package for Social Sciences. Yeah. Okay, so let me. Okay, I will say it again. It's ibm.com. It's written here. If you can see this red box on my screen or on your screen, it's written here. IB. Yeah. Yeah, or if you Google it, if you Google SPSS statistic, so the first or second link you will be getting is this link. IBM is the company that is providing SPSS, so that's why you are getting IBM monogram and all that on it. So SPSS is an abbreviation, as I said. It stands for Statistical Package for Social Sciences. So it's very much used in social sciences such as sociology, anthropology, economics, and even business sciences. People use it as well. And as far as I know, whoever I meet other than physical sciences people, they use SPSS, or they are familiar with it. So it is a computer software. As I said, it's provided by IBM, and it's extensively for data analysis and in various fields of sciences. Mainly people use it for social sciences, but it can be used in any field. SPSS 27 is the latest version, as I told you, and this is also important to let you know that IBM, when the SPSS company was not owned by IBM from very beginning, IBM bought it few years ago, and when they bought, then they renamed SPSS as Statistical Procedure and Service Solution. So that's the new name for it. But normally people know it with Statistical Package for Social Sciences. That's the most commonly named, the old name, but the new name is for Statistical Product and Service Solution. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter either you know the abbreviation or what does it stand for, as long as you can use it and you can analyze the data with it. So okay, so what does SPSS do? Let me tell you about its capability. SPSS can help you with data management. So the data management tools of SPSS are very powerful. It helps you with linking various databases or restructure data. Now, since you, I believe not many of you have worked with data, so you don't know, you may not know what does it mean. Normally, when you get some data, sometimes you get data from different sources, and then you need to connect them. For example, if you get a data from, well, let me give you an example from my PhD work. I was analyzing that how people react to weather condition, like how their travel pattern change when weather condition change. Now, the travel survey was 150,000 trips. Like I had the data that a person is starting from point A and is going to point B. And this person has this much age, this much income, gender, and so many details. And then I got data from weather station. Someone has on their mic, and I would request to mute it because it's creating confusion. Okay, so I had the travel data and I had the weather data, and then I needed to link these two data. And these two data were totally independent, so SPSS could have been used for linking the data. In fact, I use it. And then restructuring data. Sometimes the data is not in a usable form. Like when you want to do data analysis, you need a very nice format of the data. Like every column, like a variable title and the data with that variables. And similarly, the second variable, and below that, the column of the data of that variable. But normally, you may get the data in rows. instead of in columns. So then you need to restructure it. Sometime you need to keep some columns and some rows and transform the other rows. And for all these kind of things, you can use SPSS. It's very, very powerful for that. And it's very handy tools. You can use it for data descriptive, since we are going to talk about descriptive analysis, so I will leave it for that. Think about mean, standard deviation, frequency distribution, some basic statistical analysis, so you can do it with SPSS very easily. You can do graphical analysis through SPSS as well, like pie chart, bar chart, and all kind of things. Then you can use statistical analysis like linear regression model, applying ordinary least square or OLS method, logit probit model, which are non-linear model. And there are a lot of other kind of analysis that are useful for medical field or for social sciences field, a lot of modeling techniques. Even I'm not fully expert of all the models that SPSS offers. Nobody can, because it's applicable in so many different fields, and with time they add more and more. So it's a very powerful statistical software. Now, this is very important for anyone who has interest of learning software. You need to know some limitation when you are using a software. SPSS cannot suggest you procedures. It is like SPSS is a tool that can help you to do the calculation. It cannot tell you that the model you are using that is correct or that is not correct. It cannot tell you that if this model is not correct, which other model you should use. That is a requirement that is needed to be fulfilled by the researcher, the person who is using the software. It's like when you are driving a car, you can drive the car, but car can't take you to a destination, or it's like you have to move the wheel to reach to your desired destination. You have to decide the road on which you have to drive. The car will be just driving, irrespective of if you are driving it on in a mud or in a road or on a mountain. The car will drive. The car is made for driving or for traveling. It's up to you with the wheel. So SPSS cannot suggest you appropriate procedure. That is the researcher work. He or she have to do that by learning, by discussion, by supervision. That person have to identify the appropriate procedures. Then we say that every software, when you plug in the data in it, it gives you some result, some estimates. The interpretation of that results, the interpretation of that finding is to the researcher. The software cannot do that. So you again have to have expertise of the models you are using in SPSS. For example, if I want to run a regression model in SPSS, I will put in the data. SPSS will give me the result. Now, was the model useful for the data I was using? SPSS cannot tell me. And then when I get the result, what does this number says? SPSS cannot tell me. So if I don't know what is a regression analysis, if I don't know what kind of output it produces, I cannot use SPSS efficiently or for the purpose for which I want to use. It's like if you know the driving, if you know the driving, but if you don't know the path, if you don't know the destination, you will be driving aimlessly. You will be ending up nowhere. You will be going nowhere. So that's the case. So that's left for you, for a researcher, to find an appropriate procedure and to interpret the model. SPSS only help you to apply the model and give you the result which used to be done manually. SPSS work like a calculator. Like calculator help you with making faster your calculation, applying different techniques. So similarly, SPSS, you can say, is a modern version of that. Now, someone may ask the question or may have in mind, is SPSS the only software for data analysis? Well, SPSS is not the only software. If I have to compare it with few of its competitors, I can say that SPSS is good for data management, for data descriptive, for some basic statistical analysis. However, in the market, there are many more softwares. For example, economists use E-views. E-views, E stand for econometrics, so it's called econometric views. This software is good for time series analysis. So when you have data that is time series data, when there are, for example, I don't know, formally we say that when some variable is measured across the time, we call it a time series variable. So if you have to use such kind of data, then you need time series techniques of data analysis. For that, eViews is a very powerful software. SPSS cannot handle such kind of things. Similarly, the points written below eViews are like the testing stationarity or configuration analysis. These are some models that are used for analyzing time series analysis. This is more relevant for someone who is studying finance or economics. Then we have another competitor with SPSS, which is called Stata. Stata is also a very powerful software, and it is very eViews and Stata are very strong competitors. eViews are good for time series analysis. Stata is good for cross-sectional data. Cross-sectional data is a data which you collect at a point in time. In time series, you observe variable across the time. In cross-section, you just take it at a certain point in time. For example, you go out and you collect the data about certain things through a questionnaire. So that would be a cross-sectional data. So Stata is very good for cross-sectional data. Then we can think of another software which is called Lambda. That is not very popular here, but in Europe it is very popular. I use it a lot during my PhD. This is also a very powerful software for cross-sectional data. These are just 3 or 4 software which I'm talking about, but the word is not limited to only these software. There are many more software. For example, one more software which is called Minitab. Minitab software is also available. That is very user friendly. Some software are freely available. For example, R, the English alphabet R, it's a software as well. This is a very powerful software. It is open source, but it is not open source refers mean that it is available for free. You can just download it and you can use it. It's a very powerful, but the problem with this is that it is not user friendly. So if you are not good with writing programming, or if you don't have much of the computer skills, then this software is difficult to manage. Someone who has interest for learning data sciences, for them, this is a very good software. Besides that, there is MATLAB software as well, and many more softwares as well. Personally, I believe every researcher should get expertise of one software. So you should master one software. For example, if you master SPSS, that is enough. You should be able to use to do your work with this software. And then knowledge of other up to little bit extent is okay. But master one software. Personally, I'm comfortable with all these 4 software because I have been using it for quite a long time. These all softwares are learning by doing. When you use it, when you apply the things in it, you will learn it. If I give you lectures, you will forget it after 2 days. So I would suggest you download the trial version and then try with it. Try different possibilities with it. And you by yourself will be learning a lot from the by yourself. So starting SPSS, well, since it's a beginner, so if you have Windows 7, so you can have, once you have your software installed, you can see its icon here. You can just plug and play, you can click, software will open. So once the software get open, you get a window like this, as you can see it on my screen. This window this is the window. So within that window, you have this smaller window, and it asks you a number of things. So normally you can just open this. If you read it, I don't know if you can read it. It's open in existing data source. So if you have already an existing data or SPSS file, you can select it from here. But if you don't have it, just press cancel, click cancel here, and it will be gone. So this window will go on, and you will have with your main window file left. So let me show you. This is the normal file when SPSS open. this is the window you see. This is called the main file. This is untitled because I haven't saved it yet. When I save it, it will become the name of that file. This window has two views here. If you see here below with my mouse pointer, data view, and then you can see here variable view. So this is the two views between which you can switch. If you click on data view, you see these Excel-like sheet. This is the when you have data in your file, you will see data in this. And when you click on this variable view, you will get a different view. This is a few more information. So the block box show which cell is active. So if I click here, so the first cell is active, and then this top bar will show me the value of this cell. For example, if I have written here 5, so there will be 5. If the second cell has 10, so if I click here 10, it will be 10 here. This is exactly like Excel. So then we have the data view, and if I click the variable view, then I get a new window. This is a variable view. Now the view change. If you look at it and compare it with the top, at the top you have VAR. This refers to variables. And if you look at the bottom, which is the variable view, this is the first row, no show name. Then you see the type, then you see the width, decimal, label. So now it's different. Now this shows you information about the variables you have. In the data view, you see the data of each variable. And in the variable view, you see the names of the variables and details about the variables. So let me move to the next slide. The SPSS, when you open SPSS file, you have this window, which we call the main file, and you can switch between that, the data file, the data view, or the variable view. The second file simultaneously open with SPSS file. This is called output window. When you open SPSS, this window will also open. So you will have like 3 bars, one with SPSS main file, and the second one will be with the output. So this is the output window. This window has a number of things. Whenever you run a command, result will appear here. So you get the results in this. When you get, for example, if you do some descriptive analysis, or if you do some graph, you do command, running command on the main window. You can also do it here, but the result will always appear in this window. It will not appear on the data or the variable view. It will appear in this output window. And whatever command you give, the log, the record of that will come on this smaller box. So you will see the logs of all the commands you are giving to the SPSS, performing all the actions. So all that will be appearing in this window. So then we have a third type of window or SPSS file, which we call syntax file. This is the third type of file. This is for slightly advanced use of SPSS, but it's important to know about this as well. This is called syntax editor. Here you can write syntax or program certain functions, and this help you. For example, if I do some analysis and I close the SPSS program, so my command will be lost. But if I write its program on syntax editor and I save this file, so whenever I open the data, I can rerun all that by just selecting that syntax and running it. I don't have to write the code again. So that helped me a lot. For example, for last week, I was doing some analysis. So I did that analysis and I saved its syntax file. So it's with me. So whenever I open the data file, it do not have any results. But when I run the syntax, I get the same result again. It's useful, for example, if you do a lot of work and later on you realize that, oh, I need to make this change. So in the syntax, you just make that change and you don't have to repeat all entire research or descriptive analysis or modeling all together. You just do small change and save it, and then you can use it. But this is for slightly advanced level. So for time being, we will ignore that syntax window. You need to know that there exists. Then there is a fourth file type as well, which is called script. Script is for Visual Basic Language. This is also for programming, but you will be not needing that as a basic user of SPSS. Okay, so I hope that now when you install SPSS and you start it, it will not scare you that how it look like. So let's talk about now the main window. Now this is the SPSS main window, and now I have some data on it. So now you can see it's full, and you can see it. The first, if I look at it, you can see here this is serial number. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can see here a ruler kind of icon. So this shows what type of variable it is. We will shortly talk about it. Then you can see a company name, and then you can see a different icon. Then you can see SSP1, and then you can see a different icon. So these icons represent a different kind of variable. And you can see the first variable is numbers, the second variable is text, and the third variable is Likert scale or qualitative measure. So SSP1, this was one of my analysis. This is supply chain practices 1, supply chain practices 2. These are 6 indicators for supply chain practices in organization. So it's a questionnaire from which through which I collected the data. For example, Asia Private Limited was a firm from which I collected the data. So through a questionnaire, so the first 6 questions had these answers, so I have inserted that data. So you can see here this data view is activated. Now if I move further to focus on main things in data view, you can see here on the top this file edit view. This is the important things. These are all functionalities of SPSS. That's why we call it very user friendly, because you get all this menu. If you are using some other software like R, it is very difficult to do these kind of things with it. So let me focus on that menu. So if you see here, file, edit, these are the important menus. So I'm going to talk about it one by one. In file menu, this is the screenshot of file menu. There are a lot of options on it. For starter, with file, you can open new file, new data file, new script file, new syntax file. So all, or with open, you can open an existing file. With import data, you can import the data from somewhere else. With save as, you can save the file. It's the same functionality you see in Microsoft Word or Excel. Then you can think of the edit. So it's the same standard function: undo, do, cut, copy, paste, search the data, go to a case. This is for the data, like you want to copy the data from somewhere and paste it here in this sheet. You can directly paste the data. You can import the data. Similarly, you can delete or copy from here and paste it somewhere else. You can insert a variable. You can delete a variable. All these are standard functions. Then the third one is important. This is the data. So if you look at it, here there are a lot of things. Now, obviously, I'm in no position to explain each and every functionality of that. Some of them I have been using it, so it's very clear to me. Other are not used by me, so I can't explain that. But this is very good of SPSS, that you have a help function, and if you go there, it provides the topic by topic detail about every menu option with examples. So that make it very, very user friendly, and you can very easily find which functions do what. For example, in this data analysis, I talk about combining the data, restructuring the data, merging the file. For example, if you have 10 data file, you have data on 10 Excel sheet, and you want to put it on top of one another. So all you have to do is use this merge file function. Import one file, import second file, import third file with certain condition that their variable names are same. They will put it on top of one another. Similarly, restructure help you with moving the rows or columns, or keeping some rows constant, columns constant, and moving the rows or shuffling it. So similarly, aggregating, and there are so many such kind of data management functions here. Then you can think of this transform menu. If you open it, there are also a lot of transformation related things. For example, when you are using qualitative data, a lot of time you have to recode a variable. So recoding a variable can be done here. For example, recoding a variable into a same variable or in a different variable. So you can do that. For example, if I use a qualitative variable, if I give you example of that, for example, just I have this SP supply chain practices one. It is in 5 categories, and I want to reduce it into 3 or into 2, merging 2 or 3 categories. So that could be done here through this recording option. Similarly, some other functionalities are here as well. Now, this analysis part is various analysis related tools which SPSS offers. This is the complete list of it, but this is not the total list. Every menu has then many more options. This is a descriptive analysis or statistics. Then you have Bayesian statistics, that's a different area. Then you can think of here regression analysis, log linear model. You can think of non-parametric test survival analysis, and so many more. Some of them are new to me as well. I haven't used it ever in my life. And we don't need it in economics. For example, in economics, we mostly do regression analysis, or sometimes we have to use this descriptive analysis for everyone, correlation analysis, regression analysis. Within regression, there are a lot of options. We also use this survival analysis. I use it. You can use it for casting, different kind of model. So this is a functionality of SPSS. The different modeling capabilities of SPSS. Then you can think of graphical capabilities. So the chart builder, some legacy, some old style graphs, all these. But my personal opinion is that SPSS is not good with graphical capabilities because the graphs it generate is not very, attractive. Some other software, even Excel, create much better attractive graphs. So personally, when I have to use SPSS, I use it for data analysis. I create graphs through through Excel because Excel graphs are more attractive. Okay, so that was the various menus. These are the 4 menus, as I said it, the 4 most important menu, the data menus that help you restructuring, splitting the data, combining different data files from different sources to one data file, transformation of the data, transform menu. It helps you recoding the variables, existing variable, creating new time variables, trend variables. These are very important for different kind of analysis. Then you have analysis menu, which helps you to do or perform different kind of analysis in statistics or econometrics or regression analysis. Then you have a graphical menu or graphs menu for creating various kind of graphs. So that was the brief introduction of statistics, SPSS software. I'm going to skip more detail about these menus because now, for example, if I want to talk about regression analysis, I need to know what regression mean. Only then, if I run a regression on SPSS, will make sense to me. So for that reason, I'm going to skip that detail for now. We will come back to some of these topics very shortly, or maybe tomorrow in our tomorrow session. So now, file menu, as I said, it's used for save and saving file, opening, edit, do, undo. This more or less I discussed it, so I will just skip it. This was some introduction. Let me see the time. I hope I'm not holding everyone for a longer period. Okay, so should I stop or should I continue? I don't know. Okay, I just want to talk about 2 more slides, and then I come back to the question answer. I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. These are the last 2 slides. So, yes, first download SPSS trial version from this link. So this is the link. I hope it's more visible now. This is for the next session. Please, all of those who have interest, do download that. Okay, I will copy it. And secondly, this is our YouTube channel, Quantitative Methods for Economics and Management. So I have a lot of videos on that. I have, in fact, a full course on econometrics on that. So if someone is interested, they can just follow it. It was recording of my classroom for my students, and 99.9% it's in English, so you can follow it very easily. And this starts from very beginning to a very advanced level. So anyone who has interest in learning regression analysis can greatly benefit from it. So this is the screenshot of our channel. I will share the links in the chat window, so you can see it from there as well. Okay, so let me copy paste the link of the downloading. This is the link for downloading SPSS trial version. Okay, so I will quickly answer some of the questions in the chat. Okay, I'm done for today, so no more continuation of material for today. And now someone says that can we get the recorded version of this presentation along with the PPT? Yes, I will share both. The video link, I will upload it on my channel, so you can watch it, you can download it from there, and I will share the PPT as well. I will give the link of PPT with the video, so you can get the link from in the description of the video. You will find a link from where you will be able to download the slides, or you can get it through OMO as well. So I will share it with OMO. Okay. Okay, this is also about sharing the presentation, so it's for the host. Someone asked, can SPSS be downloaded from Google Store? I'm not sure. It's IBM product, so I'm not sure if it's available on Google Store. I just share the link. Please download it from there. It would be easy. Okay, there is a question, is it possible that analyze both the measurable and countable data or variable using SPSS? Yes, you can use both kind of variable. You can analyze both kind of variables. It's a very powerful tool for both kind of variables and analysis. I can only see the presenter slide but no audio. Oh, I'm sorry. This is very late for answering now. Okay, now I will look. I think we should allow. Okay, I think that's pretty much all the questions. I don't see more new question. If there is more question, please. If there is more question, I will be glad to answer. Let me share my YouTube link if I can find it now. It's a bit difficult to Google search. Product. Okay, I will share it through OMO, the link for my channel as well. Okay, now I will stop it from where. Okay, I will stop it as well because it's no need for sharing my slide now. So. Okay. Sorry, I didn't get it. Which question? I'm not. Okay, coding. Okay. About coding, well, I don't know what kind of coding you are referring to. Normally, when we collect the data in raw form, like when you have a questionnaire, in webcam it would not be visible. I will show you tomorrow. I have a survey, one survey form I will show you. So when you have a data in a raw form, then you have to insert that in SPSS. Like for example, when you are a student, you do some survey, you design a questionnaire, you collect data, and then you want to do an analysis based on that and using SPSS. So tomorrow I'm going to show you that how you can do that. So I will tell you how to use that data, how to code that in SPSS, and then how to do the basic analysis using SPSS. So that I will do tomorrow, inshallah. I have the slide ready for that, but I think it's not good to hold people for longer than what you promise for. Okay. Uh, you are asking me. I want to thank everyone. A lot of appreciation comments I'm getting. I'm very grateful to all of you for your nice word and your presentation, your presence in this learning session. And I look forward for more productive discussion for tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Thank you. Bye. 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 Bye, everyone. Okay.